Hello one and all, and welcome to the second day of our grand World Race Battle Tournament, where all the racers of the world come together representing their country to see who is the fastest team of them all. First up for today is Chile versus the Dominican Republic. So far Chile has a slight lead, but there goes the Dominican Republic taking the lead and the inside lane, and they will be the first to make it to the jump. They do start to skid sideways, spin around, but they managed to finish in first with the big enough lead that they had, finishing with 6.3931. So far, the fastest time we've had is held by India from day one, who finished with a 5.6653 at one point. And just in case you are newer here, you may notice that there are only 2 racers instead of 4. As a result, there will only be 2 races for each racer. Whoever pulls up the faster time in the 2 races that they have is the one to move on to the next round. So now, Chile will have to finish faster than the time Dominican Republic just pulled. But so far they are falling behind. The Dominican Republic finishes in first, so even if that time was slower, they're still going to be the one to move on. And that knocks out one of the members of Chile. And just in case you weren't sure, just because a racer from a country is out doesn't mean their entire country is. At the start of this tournament, each country was represented by 4 racers. So even if one racer is knocked out, their team could still pull through in the end. Now for today's round 2, it is Switzerland versus Poland. Poland has a slight lead, but Switzerland rockets ahead out of nowhere. And they combine that with the advantageous inside lane, and they head towards first, bouncing off the walls, making sure they keep straight. Finishing with 6.2472. Now, sometimes hitting the wall can be dangerous, but if you see that you're starting to spin out, it could be the best move to push into it, so that you don't start spinning around, which could end up losing you a lot of speed and your chance to move on. So that is a time for Switzerland. Poland will need to finish faster than that this time around. And it is a little bit better for Switzerland, but Poland takes the inside lane, trying to keep up with Switzerland. They almost make it around, but it looks like they clipped each other as they head towards the finish line, and Switzerland finished in first yet again, finishing at almost the exact same time that they did in the first race. Normally when we time these races, it's only the first 3 digits that we see, but now we have 5, resulting in a more precise time. So having a very similar time both races makes it even rarer now. But Switzerland is moving on now for Jamaica versus Cuba. The race begins. Cuba has a slight lead, but here comes Jamaica. Can they take advantage of that inside turn? They do, and now they're multiple lengths ahead. Their nose hits the ground a little hard, but they manage to stay on their wheels, keep going, and grab the win. And that, I believe, is one of our first finishes under 6 seconds today. Still not faster than India, but that is the fastest time we've seen in today's video so far. And it looks like they are among all the other racers who have pulled off clean jumps over that gap. And I'm sure our reptilian friend in the middle is getting hungry. Cuba now looking for a better time. So far they are in a good position. They do have the win. Is it going to be faster though? A 5.84, that is close. It might be enough. We're going to have to double check the times again just to be absolutely certain. We'll find out in just a moment. And what impressive jumps that all these racers are pulling off, going over a reptilian friend. And Cuba managed to pull it off just enough. They are moving on. And now for our 4th round, it is Colombia versus New Zealand. So far, it is our yellow friend who is out in front, but then they take the outside turn. My apologies. They almost slow down to the point where they lose, but they cut off their opponent and they managed to finish with a 6.1665. Not the fastest time we've seen, but it's not a terrible time either. They almost approached the jump at the same time. They were behind at first, but they managed to get their nose out in front. And as a result, New Zealand has the time to beat. Now Colombia has to finish even quicker, otherwise this particular racer is out of the tournament. But it looks like they are going to be out as they finish way further behind this time around. So their time in this tournament is done, but again, their country is not completely out. They still have at least 3 racers remaining in this tournament, at least up till now. That's the joy of this type of tournament. Just because you are knocked out, you can still root for the rest of your team to pull all the way through. It just makes it easier when you have more racers left as you get further into the tournament. But now with New Zealand finishing, we now move on to the final round of today, and the winner of each pair will move on to the next round of the tournament overall. So we will first have Dominican Republic going up against Switzerland. They are at first neck and neck, and going through the hill, the Dominican Republic has a slight lead. And now they're going to be the first of the jump. Let's see how they do. A very clean landing, staying off the walls for the most part until the very end. And they do finish in first place. With a 5.8913, we are starting to see a few more racers finishing under 6 seconds. So India better keep on their toes when it comes to who has the fastest time representing their country. So that means Switzerland will have to finish faster than a 5.8913 in order to move forward to the next part of the tournament. So far, they are a little bit behind, but look at this. They're actually going faster, and now they're in the lead. Can they finish with a faster time? We'll have to see. And what does the timer say? 6.0854. That is a slower time. A very valiant effort. In fact, they started taking the lead while going uphill. I feel like that would be very difficult to do because you start to lose speed as you travel upwards. But they defied the laws of physics and kept it going. But it is the Dominican Republic who is going to be moving on now. And joining them will be either Cuba or New Zealand. New Zealand has a little bit of a lead, but only by about a length or so. And here comes Cuba also taking the lead while going uphill. And they're the first of the jump. They stay straight and they finish in first. That was great handling of their vehicle. And they also finished under 6 seconds. But look at this, they managed to somehow gain speed while going uphill, and they got the lead and stayed there. So that puts them in a much more comfortable position, but again, they are not out of the woods yet. New Zealand, if they can finish faster than that, will knock out Cuba. New Zealand now has the lead and the inside lane, so let's see if that helps them, or if their time in this tournament is done. They do start to skid sideways, bouncing off the walls ever so slightly. And their time was a 5.94. That is just faster than the time that Cuba pulled. So they will be the ones to move on instead. A very close call to be sure. But that's the kind of race that we live for. So we have our next 2 people being added to the roster that is starting to get a little bit bigger now. Joining India and South Africa is the Dominican Republic and New Zealand. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.